6 years ago, this bus was nothing more than an empty, abandoned bus sitting in a parking lot in Louisville, Kentucky. Rust-covered floors, thousands of rivets, and old insulation literally falling apart in the walls. And honestly, there were moments I didn't think this build would ever get finished. At the same time, life outside the bus was changing fast. I was leaving a job after 14 years, moving all the way across the country, helping care for terminally ill parents, and trying to build this mostly alone in whatever spare time I had left. Our adult children had all moved west to Oregon, and the reality started setting in. If we stayed in Georgia, we were going to see less and less of them as time went on. That became one of the biggest reasons everything needed to change. A lot of the build was paid for using credit cards, not because it was ideal, but because I believed the long-term payoff would eventually be worth the risk. The goal wasn't just about building a Skoolie, it was freedom. For many years, I felt trapped, keeping up with a lifestyle that I was no longer interested in. A 5,400 square foot home in a suburb in northwest Atlanta. It demanded most of my free time just to maintain the property. If you've ever owned a home, you know how hard it is to keep the lawns mowed, keep the hedges trimmed, and do the plantings around the house just to keep up with HOA subdivision rules. For me, it was especially brutal working outdoors in the sweltering heat and humidity that the Atlanta area has to offer. If yard work wasn't hard enough, exterior repairs and painting raised things to a higher level. In trying to save a little money, I built my own scaffolding to reach parts of the house that were over 40 feet above the ground. And looking back, it was probably a little dangerous. For a while, I thought I was living the American dream. But the more I live the dream, the deeper I sink into debt. Utility bills, mortgage payments, HOA fees, and trips to Home Depot and other hardware stores just to keep the house maintained. It felt like all my time was invested in just maintaining things, not really enjoying life. As I continued to wrestle with these thoughts, our adult children were already building lives for themselves in Oregon. As the months and years slowly passed by, it became harder to ignore the fact that if we stayed in Georgia, we'd probably see less and less of them as time went by. The big house that once made sense to us and the house that held our family memories slowly started feeling like an anchor. Selling most of our personal items and starting over sounded really terrifying, but staying stuck in an empty life with no family around felt even worse. The Skoolie slowly became more than just a project. Like a ship in the ocean, it offered us a vehicle to freedom, mobility, and especially important, being closer to family. The day I bought the bus, I had no idea how much work I was really taking on. At first it just looked old, but once Demolition started, I realized how everything needed to be rebuilt. And the cost started adding up fast. Insulation, lumber, plumbing, electrical, heating systems, and solar. Every stage required another purchase. A lot of the build was paid for with credit cards. That added pressure to every decision, because once you start something like this, quitting halfway stops feeling like an option. And halfway through the build, life completely changed again. This was more difficult than it looks, and I couldn't wait for it to be done. Designing and sharpening a chisel that could remove stainless steel rivets was the first step. After failing for over a week, attempting to drill out the rivets with different size and types of drill bits, I finally resorted to this method. The design and sharpness of the chisel made easy work of the stainless steel rivets. For this to work, the chisel had to get up underneath the flat head of the rivets so it could cut them off. Figuring out how to cut off the rivets made the work easier, but still, removing over 3,000 rivets by myself, that felt endless. Every section uncovered another problem: more rust, dirt, dead insects, and water damage. But underneath all of it, I saw a possibility. I was careful not to damage the original 12-volt interior lights, as I was planning to use them later in the bus build. And if I ever had to do spray foam again, I would just hire this part out. It was not the most fun job in the world. At this stage, progress didn't feel exciting yet. It mostly felt exhausting. June 21st, and I'm out here at the Ireland Mill. It's broken down right at the moment, doing some things to fix it up. We have a broken clutch on here. Not going to be doing much sawn lumber for the bus conversion until we get this thing fixed. Let's see here, we got this clutch that we are turning from some hardwood and set up like a lathe operation here. We gotta get that fixed, and the blade is off right now, waiting for some new teeth for that. There's the mandrel, and we had a new collar made up and a new tightening nut on the end of it. And there's the step ladder sitting down in the sawdust pit. Tractor's hooked up to here just so we could turn this on a low RPM to get this clutch lathed out, if that's a word. We just had a little bit of a rainstorm today, but the tractor survived. Before the build really began, some of the lumber started here, at my brother's antique sawmill in New York, an abandoned sawmill he dismantled and reassembled on his own property. There was something meaningful about using rough-cut wood from his sawmill and making it part of our new home. With the connection of the wood to our hometown and family, it made the project feel personal. This wasn't just construction anymore. It was building a completely different life. For proper horsepower and PTO speed for the saw blade, we ended up using a John Deere 4440 diesel to cut the logs. We are using an antique wood planer to prepare the tulip wood for inside the bus. One thing I learned is to always use good quality wood for building inside. You want it to last for many years. The wall framing and ceiling woodwork took place on a ranch outside of Sisters, Oregon. The area is part of the high desert of Central Oregon. Having arrived in the hottest part of the year, I knew it would be hard to work on the bus with no shade or air conditioning. I often worked mornings and evenings to avoid the heat. For electric power for saws, I used a propane-powered generator in the field outside of the bus. I used removable blue tape to mark where to frame the walls for the bathroom, the tub area, and the hallways. Also, I measured many times to ensure there would be enough room for walking in the hallway and inside the bathroom. The electrical wiring seemed to take forever, but something about it gave me a boost of hope and energy to finally get the job done. I was careful to label the different circuits with a marker and tape until they could all be connected to the fuse block. I considered proper wiring the most important part of the build for safety reasons. Before I could run all the wires throughout the bus, I had to calculate the proper wire gauges and fuses for each circuit based on total estimated watts and the distance away from the battery. At this point in the build, it began to feel like our new home was becoming a reality. Here you can see the built-in 70-gallon water tank before it was covered up. This is the main water tank drain that empties it onto the ground if it ever needs to be emptied. The water plumbing needed several valves to switch from tank to city water supply. Here you can see the 12-volt water pump and accumulator that prevents shocks to the piping whenever water is turned on. This is a switch to disconnect power to the water pump whenever we are away from our home. Without this switch, a leak in the plumbing could cause major water damage as the pump would continue to provide pressure until the water tank was empty. After a little research at the local hardware store, it was easy to find the plumbing I needed for the bathtub and the shower. Even the gray tank required a great amount of effort and time to get the 50-gallon tank plumbed to handle wastewater. This was made more difficult due to drilling through layers of steel floor to run the larger water pipes. Having grown up on a dairy farm in upstate New York, I knew how difficult life can be in the cold winter months. Because we would be living in our skoolie through the winters, effective heating options were not negotiable. Unlike many skoolie builders, I found value in keeping the original bus engine heaters. Instead of removing them, I modified the design and installed all new components. With the heaters repositioned below in the storage area, there was no risk of antifreeze leaking into our home. For a second heat source, I installed 3 diesel heaters, one in the front of the bus, one in the back, and one down below in the storage area to prevent the gray and fresh water tanks from freezing in extreme cold weather. As a backup, I also installed an automatic electric bilge heater that handles most of the storage area heating requirements. For a third heating source, I installed a 12,000 BTU mini split to provide heat when the cold weather is not much below freezing. One nice thing about the mini split is that it does not require much attention. Finally, as an extra backup, I installed a cubic mini wood stove for use during the coldest months of the winter. It requires no electricity and it provides dry radiant heat. When I completed the kitchen, after over 3 years of building, I felt like I finally came home. With the RecPro oven, baking bread and making breakfast reminded me of my mother and growing up on her family farm. And the refrigerator, powered by the sun, made me see the endless possibilities of living off the grid. It was a great relief to know that we could prepare healthy meals any time of day and no matter where we traveled to. From the start, I knew I had to be energy independent. I installed 3 12-volt 270 amp hour batteries and I wired them parallel for a total of 810 amp hours. I had to determine how to position the solar components so they would all work efficiently together near the battery bank. At first, I was a little worried about making an error getting everything connected properly. But as I got into it, my confidence grew and I knew I could get the job done the right way. In addition to saving over $14,000 doing it myself, I gained the knowledge, experience, and the ability to maintain the system with no outside help. To secure the solar panels to the curved roof, I fabricated steel brackets from angle iron. As you can see here, I had the iron brackets powder coated to prevent rusting. I left a service aisle between the two rows of panels to clean both the roof and the solar panels. To use Starlink while traveling, I needed a way to easily set up and take down the antenna. This required a custom fabrication of a mini antenna platform. I welded a steel frame and had it powder coated to prevent it from rusting. Then I fitted a 1/4 inch thick rubber mat to rest the Starlink antenna upside down while moving on the road. I positioned the platform next to the rear roof hatch where it could easily be deployed or undeployed from a small ladder inside the bus. Having reliable internet meant this Skoolie could support real long-term travel with the ability to work from home. In the middle of the build, my personal life demanded attention. After 14 years, my career job came to an end due to a large merger. We moved from Georgia to Oregon, and during all of it, my parents were terminally ill. There were stretches where work on the bus barely moved forward. Some nights, I honestly questioned whether I could finish it. Trying to balance family, decrease in income, financial pressure, and a build this large was harder than I expected. Somewhere along the way, the bus stopped looking like just another project and started to feel like our new home.
Straight cruising, headed for a bruising, watching out for number one. You gotta slow down and look around you, son. Today is just today and not tomorrow. Where you're going, you can rest your head. Where you're going, brightness looks big. Where you're going, truth cannot be hid. You gotta get going. Easy now. You gotta get going. Easy now.
All of the hard manual work and late nights, every mistake, every dollar spent, finally started making sense.
Be hard working so you can be deserving of the rest that you are given. You gotta slow down and look around you, son. Give a lot and live a little. Work with what you got. Where you're going, you can rest your head. Where you're going, brightness looks big. Where you're going, truth cannot be hid. You gotta get going. Easy now. You gotta get going. Easy now. start. You gotta get going. Easy now. You gotta get going. Easy now.
If there's one thing I learned, it's that planning matters. Some parts of the build would have gone a lot smoother had I done some design work up front. I mean, like really getting down and drawing out exactly what I wanted. But at the same time, designing as I went allowed things to evolve naturally. Some mistakes cost money and others cost time, but all of them teach you something in the end. There were moments during this build where the depth felt overwhelming. Moments where life felt uncertain. Moments where I honestly thought about quitting. But the goal was always bigger than the bus itself. The goal was freedom. Freedom from debt. Freedom from maintaining a life that no longer fit. Freedom to travel. Freedom to be closer to family. And after every setback, every rivet, every late night, I'd do it all again.
Take the step. You don't have to wait. Lose that breath. You don't gotta change.